Alright guys, good morning and welcome back. It is day 2 of the great Casa Corner rebuilding video. And yesterday we did demolition, we did initial construction and structural work. That's all done. Now we have to make sure that we finish up things in a good way and it looks good. Bobby was here this morning early. We went down to the big box stick and then we went to the lumber yard. We got the sheetrock, and believe it or not, they still had that fiberboard material. They call it soundproofing stuff, go figure. And got some insulation, so I am ready to roll today. But unfortunately, when I went to the lumber yard today to see my favorite lumber dicks down there, they did not have any tongue and groove paneling more than 6-inch width. Well, that's no good. I don't want to seam it together and all that. So, well, come on out on the back deck and I'll show you how I think I've solved that problem with a little bit of old carpenter ingenuity and know-how. Okay, guys, as I mentioned, starting out, one of the big issues for me has been finding this material. The siding, and forget about it in redwood, it's virtually impossible. If I wanted to go pay money to have it milled at a lumber yard, sure, I guess somebody could do it here in the redwood empire, but I did manage to find some 10-inch pre-primed lumber here that's pretty good exterior grade lumber. So what I actually did was buy some of this small stripping material, and what it is, it's just a little bead detail. And actually, well, I'll bring you down here and show you. Let me get you here. What I actually ended up doing was actually taking them and gluing them onto the edges of the 2 boards I bought. I bought 2 8-footers. And I'm securing them with some nails along there to keep it straight down the tracks. And, well, when in need, you just, you fall back on your resourcefulness. So I want to let that dry real good. It's going to have to set up for at least 6 or 7 hours today. And that should be good to go. And that'll give us a nice, it'll be like a fake tongue and groove. We won't have the groove, but we will have the tongue. And well, half a loaf is better than none. So let's go back inside and see what we're going to start on first today. You see we have our materials over here. I think I can still use that molding again. And yeah, here's the like the fiberboard material, the soundproofing, and we have our 5/8 sheetrock there. So all right, everybody, welcome back. Back inside again, and today we want to concentrate, at least initially, on finishing up the inside. I've got a new outlet box here, as well as a new double socket. A 15 amp will be fine. And we've got a new cover plate. We're going to put it at our standard height. I believe it's 19 inches. I can't remember here. Then we're going to unroll the insulation, lay it in there, and then we're going to cut our sheetrock and get that secured into place. Then maybe our stuff will be dry enough outside that we can start, we can at least get on the sound deadening material out there, and then maybe put our first bits of sheathing back on. So, okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get the box set and get the power cut off here, and yeah, let's get the show on the road today. I see Jen running the camera today, and just a word about electrics and messing around with electricity. If you don't know what you're doing, don't mess with it. You grab something the wrong way and you find out you can't let go, you could be killed. Okay, Jen, you had that experience of walking over wet grass and ungrounded cord, and it was almost impossible to let go of that.
Well, yeah, I was on a farm and they had a 220
yeah, that'll do it.
Power cord laying there, and I was out there bare feet in the wet grass, and I picked the cord up to actually roll it up and take it out of the way. And there was like 2 inches of open wire right there, and I'm like,
are you serious? You guys will also notice when I do electric, I pigtail each outlet. Some people will just connect the hot on the one side, the hots, and then the neutrals, and just keep running them in series. I like to pull each outlet out and pigtail it. that isolates any problem and keeps things from happening downstream. It's a trick that an old union electrician up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania taught me. So as a matter of course now, I always pigtail all of my outlets instead of just connecting up directly to the screws on there. So I'm going to finish up the electric because I know Jen's anxious to get the power back on so she can watch your guys' YouTube videos and stuff. So see yous in a bit. Guys, it's time to lay our insulation in, and we're going to need our staple gun, and make sure you have your mask on. Slide this right in here. Be a pretty good little press fit. I pre-measured and cut it outside. It'll fill up good. You want to make sure it's going to compress okay. You don't want it in too tight. And then I pre-cut some of these strips for holding across here, and I'll get that with the staple gun, and that'll keep them nice and secure in there. Okay, because we're not using any foil facing or anything, so I don't believe it's necessary to do that. So we're not in a really cold climate, so finish putting that on. Slides are in there. And since I measured and pre-cut, it goes in real easy, and it's not too thick that it's going to be uncompressible. You're still going to be able to compress it with the when the drywall goes on it. I'll take one more piece of tape, fly her across there. Okay, and that's the way we do it. Alright guys, I have some narrower pockets, so I have to work this up lengthwise here. And yeah, it's a real pain in the patoot, I'll tell you that. Get this stuff. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Little by little. One of those things you really can't rush. Some people use a box cutter and cut down, but I'd just rather take scissors and do it. So I'll see you inside. The insulating is done. The electrical is done. I've gone down each of the sides where our seams are going to be on the drywall. And just to make sure I don't have any screws or anything sticking out or nails. And Jen, thanks to her, she removed a ton of that stuff yesterday, so we should be all good. There's nothing worse than putting up a piece of sheetrock and then all of a sudden the screw comes popping through the top of it. So I think we're pretty well set. I'm going to make my measurements now, and we're going to lay out for the first piece. I'm going to remove some of this stuff so we have some room to operate. I'm just swimming in stuff on the Alright guys, the electrical is done. The insulation is up. The worst part of the job is, well, they're still sanding the drywall and all that crap. That's a pretty crappy job too. But everything is in place. The electrical's all hooked up good. All the insulation went in good. It'll be nice and compressible when we put the sheetrock up. So what I want to do now, I went around and made sure all of our seam edges are clean, so we'll get a fairly good butt joint on there. And I'll go outside now and start laying out. And yes, Jen's rubbing her butt over here as I'm doing that. And she does have a ghetto booty. I'm going to very carefully do the layout on the drywall. So okay, we'll see you maybe out there when we're cutting the piece. Cut one. Missy on cleanup detail, huh? You don't care. Thanks to you, we have very good screwing surfaces on the wood, and you know a lot about screwing surfaces, don't you?
Yeah, I screw surfaces.
All right, you cleaned them all. You cleaned them up real good for us. So you came in with your inspection, so it looks like have you signed off, we can now go ahead and drywall. Jen's the building inspector
I signed
here.
it and I approved it on it.
You checked that out real good, and we're ready to go. She's giving the thumbs up, guys, and the ghetto booty to boot. There we go. All right, later. We've got our first piece of drywall set in here, and it's one of those things you want to measure twice and cut once on this stuff. And we have a pretty good press fit on this side over here. And it should make a fairly smooth joint, because this is the beveled edge, or the edge that sort of comes down a little bit at the edge, so it can fill with tape and mud. The other thing is make sure you reference everything from the inside corner, measuring out, and make sure you set your drywall down properly. Set up your horizontal dimensions, how far over here and here for the box, make those two, then come inside and measure your up and down measurements and put them on. That way you won't get confused about it. The other thing you want to do is preset your lines. In other words, figure out where your studs are behind the wall, and take a light pencil line and lay them out. Then you're not wasting time just shooting screws into space. So you're getting the meat here. When you set your drywall at the bottom, you always want to use a block to set it in real good on all of your edges and everything. That way you get a real good fit without punching holes if you were to kick it or something like that. So I'm going to finish setting the screws on this first piece. I'm going to screw it up. Okay, literally. I'm going to screw it up literally. And then we'll be back. We'll take our measurements and we'll get the other piece hogged up on the wall there. And we'll be good to go. So far the program has not been cocked over today. The whole program's chooching along good. So we want to keep up the momentum. So, all right, we'll see you back here in a little bit. In accordance with the program not being dickered, we got our first piece up and we got her secured. And you want to always go along and make sure that you, some of the screws you put in, once you're putting other screws in, they may come to the surface a little bit, so you want to make sure that they're all countersunk below the surface. So you can see having the lines here really paid off, because all the screws are right on the stud mark. This is exactly the way the pro sheetrock guys do it. It's drywall mechanics, so it's all good. So we're going to measure up and get our second piece chooching in accordance with the program. And in accordance of it ain't cocked up, and we got one more. We got this little antler we pulled out. That's all good. And we got to get that antler situated over there. And we're all good.
Little schmutz.
Good to go.
Schmutzy over there.
Yeah. All right. It's good. Yeah?
Jawohl, mein Fräulein, jawohl.
Okay. All right. We'll see you in a bit when we get the next piece chooching.